Now that Black Friday and Cyber Monday are officially behind us, we can finally go back and look at the sales data and try and make sense of what we just saw. I know you guys are always super curious about what is happening with the market, what singles are good, what I should buy, what I should sell, the sealed product market, all of that fun stuff. But don't worry, I did all of the hard work for you. I did a bunch of research on different sets and cards and how they performed during this past weekend and during the TCGPlayer sale. And I'm going to add in my own experience as a seller during the TCGPlayer sale. So sit back, relax. We got some information coming your way. My name is Steve. This is Still City Stacks. Let's jump straight into it. Now, I mentioned first and foremost that I am a seller. I have an online Pokemon card store. It's very part-time, but I did participate in the sale. And what I did, for the most part, was sell a lot of singles that I got from card shows and collections via Facebook or wherever, and selling different like bulk cards that, players and people that do master sets and grandmaster sets really look for. And what I personally sold was a little surprising, I'll be honest with you guys. So in total, I did about 63 sales from the very beginning of Friday morning to the very end of Monday night. And for me, that was actually a decent bit. I don't do that much in sales, like in terms of total quantity, but I always make sure that, the dollar amount is kind of, still worth it. And what I saw specifically was a lot of hyper modern cards being sold and not nearly as many bulk cards as I originally thought. I had over, I think it was 17,000 bulk cards, and I may have sold, no kidding, 50, if that, which just blew my mind. Now, this is the second sale that I've participated in, the first one being earlier this year in May, where that's all I sold was bulk cards. But this time around, it was mainly, your IRs, your SIRs, your promo cards, your stuff that ranged anywhere from quite literally $1 all the way up to like $60, $70, $75, somewhere in that range. And the sets that I saw the most sell were Destined Rivals, Black Bolt, White Flare, Journey Together, Prismatic Evolutions, Surging Sparks, Mega Evolution, and Phantasmal Flames. And really, I was kind of confused because I had so much Sword and Shield product, I had so much early Scarlet Violet product, or singles, and they just didn't move nearly as much as these hyper modern cards. And it's really just making me think, hey, what is going on with some of these sets that are a little bit older? And I've kind of come to the conclusion that there really must be a lot of new people in this hobby that really just want the current thing or the new hotness or whatever it would be. And the theme just throughout what I saw was 2025. So when I was doing my research, I went through and I looked at all of the sales data from as much as I could from TCGPlayer in terms of the sealed market and some of the singles. And it kind of corroborated what I personally saw selling stuff. And that really was, the more new the card was, more hyper modern these cards were, the more liquid that they ended up being. Now, there were certain sets that still performed, and we will highlight those. But as a non-TCG pointed out during his kind of spiel about the sale, he had, I believe it was 150 Silver Tempest ETBs listed, and not even 50 of them sold by the time he made his video. The last time I looked, there was still 102 available. I'm sure that's probably changed. He may have even removed them completely at this point. I have no idea. But the fact of the matter is, the Sword and Shield stuff just didn't move nearly as much. And it makes me a little bit worried because that's really what we should kind of see. This was a great opportunity to buy up some of this product. And I don't want to say juice the market or anything like that, but definitely give strength to some of these older sets. And we'll kind of talk about some of the stuff I noticed about Paldea Evolved as well, but that's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. The last thing I want to mention before we flip the camera around is stuff that I saw, at least with my own eyes or, via card store owners here in the Pittsburgh area, was that things were absolutely busy and just they were killing it. There was one store in particular, they had product out the wazoo. They marked a bunch of it down. Prismatic Evolution booster bundles, just, $30 off selling. I think there was like $45 a booster bundle, which is not like super crazy of a sale, but still is like, it's pretty good. Like Destined Rivals booster bundles are selling for $60 right now, if that means anything. So there's that. But point is, a lot of people were actually physically out and buying stuff, and they completely sold out like Friday. And they just had to slowly kind of like add stuff over the weekend. but they had people lining up out of the door like it's like OG Black Friday in the 2000s when there's brand new TVs at Best Buy and people are fist fighting each other. That's how many people we saw in the Pittsburgh area, at least. So kind of interesting that was the perspective that these store owners got. I didn't have enough time to kind of ask them about specifics about what they saw because they were just, wheeling and dealing and trying to, just get people in and out of the store. But for the most part, I think you guys will be interested in what this next part is. So let's just get straight to it. So I will attempt to go through this about as fast as I can for you guys to give you as much information in the least amount of time as possible. We're just going to be highlighting some of the stuff that I saw. Again, this is the research that I was able to get from TCGPlayer directly via their sales and stuff, and in kind of like collaboration with an ongoing series and project that I have relating sales data with the quantity and all that stuff because you don't see it. Anyway, Chilling Reign. First one that I wanted to talk about. Chilling Reign, there was a big buyout of these. The price actually shot all the way down to about $400. Right now we're at about $390 is what the set's going for. You guys can see here it has absolutely fallen off a cliff. That is because we had a crazy amount of sales here. 25 sold at about $399.99. So in the last month alone, the price is down 21%. That's obviously a pretty high number. Like I said, you can get them right now for $390. There's still a couple here. It is Tuesday night as I'm recording this as well. But Chilling Reign definitely had a moment where it was getting eaten up quite a bit. Curious to see what happens here. We'll see how that recovers. Fusion Strike, another one that was rather interesting. Oop. Fusion Strike down here. A little bit interesting. Was expecting more people to kind of bite into Fusion Strike. You guys can see here, there were like no sales from Fusion Strike. Just a couple. On Friday, Black Friday, we had 4 sale on TCGPlayer. Cyber Monday, only 1, 2 so far today. Not really much of a support there. It has come down just a little bit. The last year, I mean, it's up 200%, but over the last month, it's down about 9%. Was expecting this one to do a little bit better. Was disappointed there, but just an anomaly. I saw Brilliant Stars. Go back and watch my video on Monday if you guys want the full analysis on Brilliant Stars. It's probably too late for you guys if you missed out on this one, but we'll see how much more product comes to market. Quantity's been down here similarly before in the last couple weeks. We'll be curious to see how much is out of the market, but Astral Radiance, another one I wanted to touch on. Absolutely no change in price whatsoever. Another set that just did not get hit really whatsoever and was a little bit disappointing. You guys can see here, the prices just kind of remained flat for a little while now, and it's still kind of just at an all-time high here of about $412, $410. It is what it is, and it really won't break through. The single prices are sliding as well. The Origin Form Palkia and Dialga are both down. The Starmie's down big right now. Just interesting. There really wasn't much support for Astral Radiance. Again, Sword and Shield just not really getting hit. There's not that much else to talk about in Sword and Shield. I had mentioned the Silver Tempest thing with a non-TCG. A lot more quantity added in the last week here, a couple days. And the price has just fallen all the way down to $400. That's going to be important. Astral Radiance here at about $400, $409. And Silver Tempest at about 410. What is this exactly? 405. Really interesting. Specialty ETB, please keep that in mind. Specialty ETBs, there's not much to talk about. Crown Zenith was another one that I was kind of interested in seeing. Just no change in price literally whatsoever. The quantity did shoot up here, this orange line, for that sale. And we just didn't see the sales data for Crown Zenith. A little surprising. These are just the ETBs. We'll be curious to see how this reacts. In particular, I think Crown Zenith is going to be the one where we're all just like, well, why didn't we just buy into it at any given time? But the next one that we really want to talk about is Paldea Evolved. That is a very interesting one. Mr. P, as it's known, Mr. P reacted pretty favorably, actually. You guys can see here, we finally had that kind of that buttress at this point right about here, about 370, 367. But we had quite a bit sell on Friday. We had 56 booster boxes sold on TCGPlayer at about $384, $385. It's really not terrible. And we have kind of seen it bounce back up a little bit, but what's really interesting about this one, I don't know why there's filters on this one. there's still plenty that are available. Like there's a 0% seller here, but he has, whoever, almost 1,300 sales. You can get 5 of them for 350, 359. There is an actual like brick and mortar store here, 28 of them at 359. Just really interesting. Good opportunity to get it back in. Go back here for just a second. The quantity is still, it's kind of like nearing the low of when I started charting this stuff here at around, what is that, 145, 148. Just interesting to see. We'll see if this continues to go down in a negative type of fashion. I tend to think it's not going to, but it was the one real set that wasn't ultra super duper modern, even though this is ultra modern, to be honest with you guys, that actually did something positive. So just wanted to highlight that. The other one from, Mr. P, the Shinji Carp, the Magikarp illustration rare, 42 of them that was sold pretty much over the weekend. Their data is broken, so I can't really show you what the sales data was like, per day. But we are actually back down to this point again, about $250. It keeps testing this 250. This is the third time it's been kind of near this point. I'm curious to see what happens with this, because this card's about to go out of rotation, and if you just don't have it, you're not going to have it. You're not going to be able to pull it unless you buy sealed product and get lucky. So be on the lookout for this. I think it's going to be really interesting. As we scroll back down here, Twilight Masquerade. I never really like seeing this exact type of situation where the quantity is increasing and the price is decreasing. But I want you guys to look at something on the actual like sales graph from TCGPlayer. You can see that we were all the way up here, and then we drove all the way down to about 265. So we went from 330 down to about 265. And then the sale happened, right? At this point down here, about 265. We had 27 booster boxes sell on Black Friday. And now we're back up to 292, which is, pretty healthy. We will see what happens. Twilight's still that set that could get hit. And it probably will, just being honest with you guys. But I am curious to see what happens here. I'm pretty sure this blue line will eventually kind of trend back upwards, closer to this orange line. It'll be really interesting to see if these points intersect again and price goes above quantity. Just something to pay attention to. Twilight should all be on everyone's radar really at any time. Surging Sparks, you guys are probably sick and tired of me talking about Surging Sparks, but I just won't stop because it's just so interesting. Surging Sparks responded so beautifully in this sale. Quite a bit sold. 67 boxes on Black Friday, another 38 on Cyber Monday. Just absolutely just, still such a liquid box. People are moving this left and right. They're adding their collections. They're doing whatever. Their portfolios, investments. Still over 1,000 boxes listed on TCGPlayer alone, but you're seeing that classic, hey, as quantity decreases, price is increasing. We will see what happens here if this one goes off to the races and this quantity slowly starts to trickle down. But something just to notice. Destined Rivals, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like if Surging Sparks does something like this, blue line being price, 390-ish, 392, then 390, 390, 390, 390. Sale comes through, price goes to 406. Now we're at a couple days later, we're all the way back up to 415. And you can see the quantity just got eaten up. We went from 284 available down to 193. Take a look here, 199 now. But you can see the price is just back off to the races. We will see what happens here. I'm feeling pretty good about it, but one of the reasons I actually mentioned the $400 price point was because this box is currently at about $415, which is just insane. Like there's actually one down here at 400, but still, you can go and get Paldea Evolved at less than 400, like we talked about. You can go get a box that's literally about to go out of print for less than a box of Destined Rivals. You can go and get Astral Radiance. You can get Silver Tempest. You can go and buy, almost said Shilling Rain. Oh my God. Call me Alex from Nostalgianomics. Jeez Louise. Shout out Alex. He's great. 390 over here, cards from Kanto. You can get it. But just really interesting because Destined Rivals, it will end up being the best box from, Scarlet Violet. That's just a given at this point. It's best in breed, whatever you want to call it. But $400 right now, just this box is 7 months old. I'm not willing to do it. I'm sorry. I would much rather go into something that's either going out of print or totally out of print. And it just goes to show you, because look how many sold over the weekend. 82 of them sold on Black Friday, another 22 on Cyber Monday. That's over 100 just on those 2 days alone. And we had 43 on Sunday, 26 of them on Saturday. Like, this is an ultra modern box. It should not be this high and still have this much volatility, or not volatility, but just like, support for it going to the moon. The consumer confidence on this is just so high. You saw it with Surging Sparks. You saw it with Twilight Masquerade. You saw it with Paldea Evolved. But as again, you go up towards like your older stuff. Temporal, not much. Paradox, not really much of anything going on. Obsidian Flames, absolutely nothing. Price is just held at $300 now for weeks on end. Scarlet Violet Base actually going down in prices, down to $220 now, so it's lost about $20. But last one that we want to talk about is, at least like the main talk, is Prismatic Evolutions. I don't know how more clear like we need to be here. This is just like the perfect illustration of what Prismatic Evolutions is. Look at the orange line. It starts off down here at about, what is that, 2,700 boxes. We go up towards 2,850, call it. And for the middle part of the sale, we had it at 2,823. Now all of a sudden we have 2,960 boxes, 2,960. And the price started off at 142 and is now all the way down to 120. It's just a complete like inverse. You just like flip flop this. It looks like almost a mirrored image. It's absolutely hilarious to see, because we'll look here. Maybe there we go. So we look here on Prismatic Evolutions. This is the 1 month chart. 122 ETBs of Prismatic sold on Black Friday, another 74 on Cyber Monday, 97 on the Sunday, and then 31. So, you're talking like a few hundred boxes being sold, about 300 boxes, let's say, sold of Prismatic Evolutions. And just when we back it out towards a year, guys, just remember this. Please come back to this video in the future and remember this, because for as long as this is going to be in rotation, these boxes are just going to keep going down and then up. And this is trending towards that same 105 to 110 price point. And when it does, I'm sure you guys are going to want to add to your collections. I sound like Vapor Self here, but I'm certainly going to be doing it myself. I kind of wish that the sale happened whenever that was going on, just so I can save some extra money, get some store credit. But it is what it is. This is just forever going to be a thing. Another quick thing that I wanted to highlight, Black Bolt and White Flare. There were a lot of people that said these sets weren't going to do anything, that they weren't going to be very good. And it turns out, you know what? They're not too bad. They're actually going up in price. Quantities coming down. We're not seeing a lot of these kind of hit the market again. I did see some hit Walmart and some of the drops. I don't know how much is actually there in terms of ETBs. That's what these are, but kind of interesting. We're just not going to talk about Mega Evolutions as well, because I'm going to make it a separate video talking about Mega Evolutions. I think you guys will be interested in watching this one for sure. And Phantasmal Flames, of course. But too new. It's not even worth talking about. These, the price is still falling for both of these sets. And until we hit a point where it starts getting comfortable, that's a different conversation. But these ones obviously move. People are just buying them left and right. There's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them selling. So it is what it is. But, I think biggest takeaway, this Prismatic Evolutions acted exactly the way that we expected. It was super fluid. And I think that was one of the most important things. But Ultra Modern, your Destined, Prismatic, Surging, Twilight, those ones, really good. Paldea Evolved certainly had its time in the sun. This is all sealed stuff. The single is a little bit too much to talk about, but Magic Harp definitely fluid as well. Again, a bunch of them sold. You guys can see it's still not doing it. 42 of them in the last week, say. I think that's pretty fair. 49 in the last week and a half. Pretty good. But yeah, this is your sealed kind of update based off of everything that we know. So there you guys go. That was a lot of information that I tried to give about as quick as I could. I do a whole deep dive on all the sealed market every Monday on this channel. So if you're interested in that, be sure to be on the lookout for that. But to wrap everything up for you guys, I want to kind of just give my 2 cents and just say, hey, we're going to start to see some big changes in the Pokemon market heading into 2026. There is a very anticipated set, and there are some very disgruntled YouTubers for very valid reasons, both good and bad, for Ascended Heroes. So far, it seems like Mega Dream is selling pretty all right. I wasn't able to get any, have some personal stuff going on, so my focus is really just on my 9 to 5 and making as much YouTube content as I can. So didn't really get some good numbers and product for Mega Dream, but overall, the market is just, it's heading into what I think is going to be not necessarily another leg up, but I personally think that the confidence that we're seeing in these hyper modern sets right now is going to carry over into 2026. I think also this is one IP. There's Magic, there's Lorcana, there's Yu-Gi-Oh, there's One Piece that's really popular now, Riftbound, all these other sets, Magic, whatever. As well as different things that go on in life, like holiday shopping for your loved ones, for your friends, your family, whoever. There's a lot of stuff to spend money on. So I'm not trying to overanalyze something like this, but we are kind of just in this micro niche of a niche in itself, and it's just what we do here on YouTube as content creators. But I have this feeling with everything that I know and all the product that I was able to get and then sell. I'm going to be focusing more on kind of the modern sets. We'll be trying to getting sealed product, of course. But even just the singles and stuff like that, they're just so liquid and fluid right now. I think that's just going to continue off into 2026. And it's just going to be the new hotness after the new hotness after the new hotness. And I think the hype is just going to continue and go and go and go and go and go. But I will say this. I do think there are reasons to believe that more product is coming to the market. And I think that is a really, really good thing, because we are going to see more just boxes and singles and everything available at cheaper prices. And I think this really might put the squeeze on some of the scalpers, but I will be honest with you guys, I don't think they're going away. And I think people have really underestimated the power of rip and chips. The biggest downside to that, I would say, is if there is more product available, people might be less inclined to participate in rip and chips. We will see what happens. I'm assuming some of them will die off, as some of the scalpers do as well. But, we're definitely getting more product. I know Danny Fantup was talking today. He was able to get way more allocations than he was kind of expecting, but was a little bit upset of how they're being distributed, which fair, I can't argue that one. But it just seems like we are getting more product. We just got Black Bolt and White Flare PC ETBs on the Pokemon Center, another restock of that. We just had Stellar Crown. We've had Surging Sparks booster boxes. Today was a huge dump of Destined Rivals booster bundles on Target, I believe it was today. So they are coming out with product. It will happen. It's just a matter of what's going to happen with distribution and that sort of stuff. And I honestly I can't give you guys insights on that. I don't have distribution. I can relay stuff that I hear from Anon TCG, from PokeNE, from Alpha Investments, all these guys that have distribution. And we can do what we want with that information and try and make it make sense. But from what I saw, I think confidence is still pretty high. I think in person, it's especially high, but I think there's bigger things at play. I think people are a little bit more concerned with their money right now. I know I certainly am, just, personally speaking with you guys, just trying to be aware and be cautious. I'm not trying to, indulge myself too much and just be really smart with what I'm trying to do, especially with my money and this hobby. But for now, I think the focus is on ultra modern, and I think the smart play, honest to God, guys, I think it is moving into Sword and Shield. And there are probably some people listening to this and being like, that is the most obvious thing you possibly could have said. But I think people just need to keep hearing that over and over again. Buy the stuff that is going out of rotation or is out of rotation, and leave the hyper modern stuff for the people that just give into FOMO and just want it right now. And that being said, I plan on making a video probably tomorrow talking about some of the hyper ultra modern sets and what you guys should do with it when they release and when a good time is to finally start getting those cards. So be on the lookout for that. But that is my interpretation of this Black Friday, Cyber Monday TCGPlayer sale weekend. That was a mouthful. Let me know down below what you guys think. Let me know what you guys saw. What did you buy? What did you sell if you happen to sell a product of any kind, even in different TCGs, whatever it would be? I am curious. Let me know down below. Be sure to like the content as well. It certainly does help. Share it with your friends and subscribe if you guys like it. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.